on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Horror. This is Ethan Horror, and you guys may not know, but I have recently become obsessed with The Walking Dead, and I have seen up to Season 6 and about half of Season 7 so far, so that's just where I am right now, and I decided that I'm going to go through and rank every character from each season. So we're going to start off with Season 1, rank all the main characters from that season. I went through and I picked out the main characters. So, I mean, I know it's going to get more difficult to pick out the main characters when we get to some later seasons, but I think this one was pretty set in stone which characters should be included. So we got 19 characters to go through, and I'm ranking them just based off of this season, how much I like them in Season 1. So even though some of these characters go on to be in other seasons, I'm not going to be ranking them based on what they do in those seasons or how much I like them in those seasons. I'm only going to be ranking them based off of Season 1. So let's get right into it.
Here's Johnny.
Oh, he's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! Yes. Yes, God.
In last place, number 19 is Ed Pelletier. Pelletier, I don't remember how to say their last name. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to put a wife beater anywhere higher than last place. So, like, he's just a dreadful character to be around. Just, like, you want him to die, and he does, so that's really all I got to say about him. 18, speaking of having nothing to say, Jackie. She is absent for, like, most of the season. She's there, but she's not one of the main characters. She's one of the ones that you can tell is going to die this season because, I mean, she has nothing to do. And, I mean, the only reason she's, like, 18 and why she's so low is because even some of the other side characters that die, they're fleshed out more. She's really the only thing is that she blows herself up in the building at the end. That's number 17 is Sophia Pelletier. Again, nothing to do. She doesn't do anything for the whole season. That's I can't tell you anything about her from Season 1. She moves on to Season 2, but she doesn't do anything. She's just kind of there. She's Carol's daughter. Number 16 is Dwayne Jones. Now, he's actually ranked higher than 3 characters, and he only appears in the first episode. And spoiler alert, that's the only episode he's ever going to appear in. Obviously, Morgan and Dwayne are the characters that Rick meets. The first people he meets after the zombie apocalypse, after he wakes up from the coma. They got the whole story about how Dwayne lost his mom and Morgan lost his wife, and how Morgan's trying to, live up to killing the Walker version of his wife. And, Dwayne doesn't get much to do, but he gets more to do than some other characters on this list. Number 15, I have Merle Dixon. Now, if this was based off of other seasons, he would be a lot higher. But he's given nothing to do in this season. He's in one episode as well, where he gets handcuffed to the roof, and he's a dreadful character to be around again. He's racist, he's reckless. So if we're going based off of Season 1, not a good character. He's very, very reckless, as I said, which lands him to be handcuffed to the roof, which he has to cut off his arm, and he does appear in a later season. I'm not going to tell you which one yet. Where he appears in a later season, and then he steals their car when they come back to look for him. But number 14, I have Edwin Jenner. This is the scientist they meet towards the end of the season. Again, not really much to do. Only in the one, or it might be in 2 episodes. This guy might be in 2 episodes. But he's trying to figure out what caused this, how to fix everything. So he's got a little bit of story, a little bit of character, more than some of the other characters on this list. But yeah, and then he just dies off at the end, so... Okay, now we're getting to some decent characters. Number 13 is Jim. I actually thought that he was going to have more of a role in the rest of the season or series, but he dies off in season 1. He gets bit by walkers, where like you see him out there for like a few days. He's digging graves, you know. So you build up some like suspicion with him, and then you figure out why he's been digging the graves, and then he dies. So they don't really do anything with him. I was excited to see where this character was going to go, and it is right into the ground, literally. Number 12, I have Amy. This is Andrea's sister. She also gets killed off pretty quickly. I mean, season 1 is only 6 episodes, I think, so there's not much time to be spent. So it only has 6 episodes, and I think she's in two, maybe 3. And she dies off. She gets bit by walkers, and you know, she's mainly this high because of all of the emotional baggage that Dale and Andrea bring to her. So she is number 12. Number 11, I have Morgan Jones. Now, in the one episode that he's in, he manages to be a significantly better character than the bottom half of this list. You get a lot of backstory, a lot of emotional baggage with him. Even though you only get to spend 1 episode with him, he's able to make an imprint, and obviously he comes back later. So number 10 is Andrea. Now, again, this is based off of this season, so she's high. You get to see her relationship with Dale and Amy grow throughout the season, mainly just Dale, because as I said, Amy gets killed off. But then you get that whole thing where she sits there with like holding Amy's body the whole night until she turns into a walker in the morning. But yeah, I think Andrea is a decent character, a crafty character. She's in that main first group that Rick finds after he's in the tank with Glenn, T-Dog, Merle. So yeah, not the best character by any means, but she does enough in this season to get her a top 10 spot. At number 9, I have Carl Grimes. Again, based off of this season. Don't hate me. He's a good character. Don't get me wrong. I like him. Obviously, he's top 10. He's the son of the main character, but he isn't given much to do. You see his relationship with Shane and Rick at the same time, where it's like Shane has kind of started to become his new dad since Rick has been gone, and Shane saved him and Lori, but you know, his real dad is here now, so that whole conflict and how he wants to be a fighter, that might be actually in season 2. That's said, but you know, he's not given much to do, so I can give him such a high spot. Just number 8 is Carol Pelletier. This one might be a little bit higher than it should be because obviously she goes on to be in other seasons, so I'm attaching more stuff to her. But she is a pretty good character in season 1. I mean, you see her as this abuse victim. She's got a daughter that she's looking after, and you know, you see just she's got some of the most emotion that you can build up in a 6-episode series. But then you get to see that emotion go on to later seasons. You know, it's just a good story. But again, a lot of the characters don't get much to do. Number 7, I have Lori Grimes. Now, you get to see her whole conflict with Shane and Rick, and that conflict will grow into season 2 and 3. But in this season, again, I'm going to say that about pretty much every character in this season because you can't really flesh out too many characters in a 6-episode span. She doesn't get much to do. She's, especially considering she's one of the main people you'd want to look for because she's got the relationship with Shane and Rick, and she's the wife of our main character, Rick, so you want to see her more, but she doesn't get fleshed out enough, so I don't feel like I need to put her that high because, I mean, she's one of the most fleshed out of the season, but that's not really saying anything. Number 6, this one I feel like is the one that I probably have to enunciate that it's just this season, and it's Daryl Dixon. He is a decent character. You see his brotherly... Well, you get back and you realize that he is brothers with Merle, the guy left on the roof, and so they have to go back for him, only to Merle to have stolen the truck and left. But, you know, you see where his loyalty lies right away. You see that he's not like Merle, but he still kind of wants to be like Merle because Merle's his older brother. You see that his relationship, it's family first, so he wants to go back and get Merle after they leave him on the roof because, you know, that's his brother. So, you know, a decent character turned into a great one. 5, I have Dale Horvath. He is one of my favorite characters from the few seasons that he is in, because unfortunately he does die eventually, like most of the characters in this show. Literally, I'm pretty sure 90% of the characters in this show die. But Dale Horvath is great because you get to flesh out his relationship with Amy and Andrea, and you get to see how he wants to kind of control Andrea because, you know, he wants to keep his relationship with her, like, because she's the only person that he's really loved in a while, her and Amy. And then Amy dies, so you get to see him go through that grief, and then him wanting to protect Andrea. I just think he's a great character, and he's one of the best for the, you know, he's only in 2 seasons, and he is one of the best in those 2 seasons. Number 4, I have Shane Walsh. Now, he's not a great person. You see how he kind of wants to take Lori from Rick because, you know, Rick was in the coma and they got together while Rick was gone, and he still wants to keep that relationship. But you get to see him as a good guy. You know, he's friends with Rick, and I love seeing Shane be friends with Rick. You know, I like the conflict between them as well, but I like seeing them as buds more because they have such good chemistry. I mean, from seeing them before all of the stuff happens, when Rick gets shot and then he's in the hospital, and you see like Shane come check in on Rick, and you see that he got Rick's family to safety because Rick couldn't, because he was in the coma, and you see him stand up for the ladies that are getting harassed by Ed, and he's actually like, I like this character as a person in season 1. I can't say the same about him in the other seasons. And he wants to be like a second dad for Carl. We learn later that not a second dad, he wants to be the only dad for Carl. But, you know, he's trying to be fatherly towards Carl. And I like that. Number 3, I have Glenn Rhee. He is actually one of the most fleshed out characters in this 6-episode span, because he's the boy that goes on all the runs. He goes out with T-Dog and Andrea and Merle in the beginning. He's one of the first characters to get introduced because you hear him over the tank when Rick is in there after his horse gets eaten. And then he meets up with them, and then him and Glenn, they cover themselves in the walker guts so that they can camouflage. Glenn taught him that. He's just the guy, the guy that they go out and send on runs. You know, I love him. I love Glenn. Number 2 is Theodore Douglas, aka T-Dog. Now, he was my favorite character in the first season when I first watched it. Obviously, he's no longer my favorite, but he was my favorite character up until his death. But T-Dog, he's a great character. I felt for him the most because, like, he's getting harassed by Merle on the roof, causing Rick to handcuff Merle to the roof. And then they're getting chased by walkers, and Merle is still trapped to the roof, and he's begging T-Dog to let him out, and he pulls out the key and he drops it. And, you know, then he has to deal with the guilt because he got Merle killed, or so they thought. But Merle ended up coming back, obviously. He's not dead. And then he goes to go get Merle back out of the obligation he feels because he left him stranded there. Number 1, obviously, you knew that coming into the video, it's Rick Grimes. I mean, he is my second favorite character in all of fiction. Not saying he's going to be my favorite character for every season, but for season 1, definitely is. We follow him for all 6 episodes. We see it from his perspective for the first couple, and then they kind of split off to do the other perspectives as well. But, you know, main character, you're going to be a little bit more biased because he's the most fleshed out, because you get to see him for all 6 episodes where his character arc is growing. You know, you see him first, he's terrified of whatever is happening. I mean, obviously he just woke up from a coma and everybody's dead. And dead are walking again, and that would be a terrifying experience. And he goes and he gets his cop uniform and he talks to Morgan and he learns what he has to do and he gets nursed back to health, and then he goes out there and he does what he has to do. And I think that's he's one of the greatest protagonists in any show, any movie ever. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to hit like so I know you want to see more videos like it. Click subscribe and hit the bell if you want to be notified when I post a new video, because as I said, I'm going to be doing all of the other seasons, and there are currently 11, so you're going to get 11 videos. This is the first of all of them. And comment down below some more video ideas. But otherwise, if you don't want to wait until I post a new video, then you can just go down to my channel, click on it, go find another video in there that you'll enjoy. But I'll see you guys in the next video.